What's going on, guys? The real Sherif M here, aka Manganese Steel, doing another knife design review. And I thought I would talk about the infamous Spyderco PM2 or Paramilitary 2. And this is a knife design that I really want to say is perfect, but I truly can't. And there's a few reasons for that. So let's get into it. This is a very, very famous knife. Everybody who's in the knife community has heard of it, probably owns one, and is largely beloved in the knife community. However, there's just a few things I think for both the money and the design that could be slightly improved. And I really wish they would potentially evolve this thing. It wouldn't require a massive redesign, the criticisms that I have against it. But I truly think it could make it even better. So let's talk about it. My particular model is a version in S35VN, and if you guys are hardcore like PM2 guys, you'll notice I have black scales on mine. That is not a configuration they offered. I was lucky enough to find somebody who was selling some black S30V PM2 scales, and I swapped mine. Now, one of the things that I absolutely think can be improved with this knife, first and foremost, is the pocket clip. So I swapped mine for a titanium one done by Rip's Garage Tech, and I think this is a perfect pocket clip for this knife. Allows you to get good access, it has good tension, and really improves the ergonomics. It actually disappears in the hand and makes this feel like it doesn't even have a pocket clip, which I think is issue number one that needs to be addressed with the PM2. The pocket clips that they ship with are atrocious. They have incredible hot spots no matter how you set them up, and really, I hate them. They're the worst part of the knife by far. Second of all, I do think for the money, and it should come with some sort of backspacer. So I actually put, again, I believe this was, I can't remember who was the manufacturer of this backspacer, but I put a nice titanium backspacer, and this actually killed any sort of flex in the handles whatsoever. It actually makes this knife feel infinitely more robust than it did from the factory. And just those two improvements, I feel, dramatically improve the quality, the feel, the fit and finish, and even just the sort of balance of the knife overall. Now, a lot of what Spyderco did with this knife is really well done. These guys, have the classic gigantic hole, perfect for thumb flicking, reverse flicking, slow rolling, all of that stuff. Really, really fidgety, really, really nice to use on the everyday. Has the finger choil here in case you want to bear down the knife and push cut, and really is quite nice in the hand to use. Now, one of the other criticisms that I do have about the overall design of this knife is because of this finger choil, I do feel that the blade to handle ratio is just, it's not enough. And if you look at the knife closed, there's actually quite a bit of distance between the blade tip and the back of the knife. And those additional few thousandths, or if you're like me and you do a lot of things in millimeters, could really serve to improve the overall blade to handle ratio and wouldn't change the overall design of the knife too much. Now, That's up for debate. You know, you could say it's not necessary, but I think it would be a nice improvement to the overall knife. Maybe it would change the sort of profile here, and that's why they stuck with it the way they did. They like the shape of this leaf style blade shape. That's fine. But the one part of this knife that I have a lot of issue with, and this goes back to the issue of ergonomics for me over and over and over, is this stupid little hump right here. This stupid little hump really limits the range of hand sizes that truly fit this knife well. So if you look at my hand, yes, I fit 4 fingers, but my pinky is jammed against my ring finger incredibly hard. And if my hands are swollen at all, or even just, you know, I want to kind of have more of a relaxed grip, you can actually see that that hump digs into the edge of my pinky. And forget if I want to use this knife with gloves. A lot of times I go to the shooting range and I will wear these 511 shooting gloves. And the second that I do, the ergonomics of this knife begin to fall apart. And that hump starts digging into my pinky. Some people will say, oh, you know, Sherif, like, why don't you just get a, you know, the military, which is, I believe, the biggest version of this knife. But I don't want to carry something that large. I don't want it to take up that much real estate in my pocket. And truth be told, I don't have problems with that with, say, my GRAZIOSO. Look, I can hold it with 4 full fingers on the handle with the glove on without an issue. So while this knife is so celebrated, I don't drink the Kool-Aid because I have practical use cases which show that this one element right here is just, it's, the people will justify it and say, oh, well, it reinforces your grip. Well, if you watched my video about the Enrique Peña Lannis clip, there are other ways of doing this effectively. Even just rounding this a little bit more, making it a little bit softer, would have solved the issue for me. But no, they needed to make this into a point and curve it forward. And that, for me, makes this a barehanded knife only. If it works, you know, at all. Which, luckily it does for me, but it's right on the edge there. Absolutely right on the edge. And so, while for many people, if you don't have, you know, extra large or double extra large size hands, this knife may be perfect for you, a do-it-all kind of knife. I think this one element makes it a big miss for me. And it actually conditions when I carry this knife. If I'm going to go to the shooting range, I don't carry this thing. I genuinely don't. Because if I'm wearing those gloves, it's actually going to cause a hot spot in my pinky. And for a knife that's supposed to be tactical, you know, go fast, you know, kind of knife, that's a huge, huge miss. If you want to see a knife that kind of does that as well, there's my Emerson CQC15, but if you notice, he goes down with it. And this actually gives me more room to get my hands on here. And if I actually put my gloves on, I don't have this issue at all. Still, I have a nice full forefinger grip. So really, it's just an issue of ergonomic considerations. So if you thought this was interesting, if you thought this was controversial, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video. But the Spyderco PM2 is not perfect, guys. I'm sorry. I just cannot give it, you know, 5 out of 5 stars for design, period. Hate to say it, but that's my opinion.